Okay. Okay, so I see that we're streaming live and I could call the meeting to order. And I'd like a motion to
Go.
the agenda, please. Moved by Barb Weeb, seconded by Sal Demare. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Now the consent agenda. Motion to approve that. From Barb, seconded by Jackie. All in favor? Opposed? You only need to indicate if you're opposed, by the way. Business arising from the minutes. I didn't see any. Kristen? No?
Well, yeah, no, there was nobody spoke up. So if there was any business arising, there would be questions that people have from the minutes.
All righty. Staff reports and other business.
Yeah, sorry.
No?
We go right into our direction, our work plan. So 5.1 is our discussion on the work plan.
So that's where we're at. And I was confirming with some of you guys, well, sort of letting you know my thinking on this, but also confirming that we're all working on the document that has some red on it. And then the question was if Patricia would be willing to make some amendments to that document if we need to, as we just go through it. Ideally, we'll go through it. I mean, I'd love to finish this and move on to actually talking about what our priorities might be in the next little while, but we can't, you know, force that. There needs to be the opportunity for you guys to have input or if there's any discussion that's needed. So let's just look at 1.0, the first page, and start there. And the first thing we need to do is take out the name of Bob Joseph right there. 1.1a. Oh, this meeting, of course, is being live streamed, but also this document as a working document of this committee needs to be available to the public. So that's just something I want to mention. Is there anything else I should mention about it, Kristen? No?
No.
Okay. Barb, I see you had something.
I'm just curious, if we're taking out the name of Bob Joseph, are we putting anyone else in, or that part's just?
Oh, what about, do I need, Kristen, I didn't read that part about live streaming and electronic meetings. Is that okay?
Yeah. You could, yeah, sorry. It's been a little, yeah, you could, yeah.
I probably should, right?
Yeah.
Write the whole 3 pages?
Well, it's a page and a bit. Do you have it or do you want me to read it?
No, maybe, no, I don't think. Graham, do you have it right in front of you?
I'll read it. Graham's kind of, yeah, I can read it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to read it. 1 second here. Okay, thank you. Okay. So this meeting of the committee is being held virtually with all meeting participants attending via electronic communications in order to adhere to the provincial health officer's orders respecting physical distancing requirements as a measure to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. Directors will be involved in and participate in the meeting. Directors are to identify themselves when advising the chair that they wish to be placed on the speakers list, and this will be done by raising their hands. The chair will record the order in which the hands are raised and will allow the directors to speak in the order in which they are recorded. If directors are unable to raise their hands due to being in audio mode, they will verbally advise the chair of their intention to speak. Directors will mute their device unless they wish to speak. The chair may also choose to mute the microphones, and the directors may unmute the microphones on their own accord when required. With respect to a vote, directors are only required to state a nay vote. Directors are not required to state a yay vote. Directors attending the meeting are required to verbally advise the chair of when they leave the meeting and return to the meeting so that this can be recorded in the minutes. For clarity, if a director does not verbally advise the chair but is observed to be absent from their video feed and their video feed remains turned on and it is unclear to staff whether they are present in the meeting, the director will be marked absent from the meeting until such time as staff observes the director to reappear in the video feed. Directors will text message the chief administrative officer if they have a technical difficulty with their computer, or you can email me, either one. If directors are unable to text, they will email the chair. If a technical difficulty occurs and it becomes apparent that a director has become disconnected from the meeting will be recessed until the connection status of the director has been determined, at which time the meeting will be reconvened with or without the director present, provided the meeting's quorum is maintained. Directors who declare a conflict of interest in respect of an agenda item will be directed to the virtual waiting room while the board considers the agenda item. Once the board completes its consideration of such agenda item, the director will be readmitted to the virtual meeting room. Directors who are present within the virtual waiting room are asked to stay at their computer or otherwise remain present and connected to their computer if possible for the entire duration of their time in the waiting room so as not to miss their readmittance to the virtual meeting room. And if possible, any chat functionality of the application will be disabled. And then the one other matter that we did yesterday that we should do today as well, Chair Birch Jones, if that's okay, is the resolution pertaining to, so there was a ministerial order passed or issued on June the 17th that said that meetings are to be open, local governments are to make best efforts to have meetings open, to allow in-person public participation at meetings. And if we're not able to provide that in-person public participation, we are to pass a resolution to that effect. So, Chair Birch Jones, is it okay if I just read that resolution and then the committee can vote on it?
I think we have to. Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. 1 second here. Here it is. Okay, sorry, here's the resolution. That pursuant to Ministerial Order number M192, the NETIC Committee is excluding in-person public attendance at this July 9th meeting on the basis that public attendance in a manner consistent with public health orders and recommendations cannot yet be accommodated, as the SLRD is still in the process of assessing if and how it can reopen to the extent necessary. And the committee is ensuring openness, transparency, accessibility, and accountability at this meeting by the following means. This meeting is being live streamed, and a video of this meeting will be available on the SLRD website for viewing on an on-demand basis. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are people okay with that? Any questions about any of that? We'll get into looking at this draft work plan that we circulated and try and move through it and see. So I think yes.
Sorry,
Kristen.
can you, that's the motion that I need you to,
I would like to move, yeah, Jack.
thank you.
And Sal is seconding as per Kristen's statement, just read out so kindly for us. Thank you.
So did you call the question?
No, I didn't. Call the question.
Thank you.
Any opposed? All right. Done.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm desperate to get rid of this red writing here on this first page. And Patricia, are you okay to do this? Or do we want Jackie to continue doing the work on this?
No, I think I can take notes and make whatever revisions we need to make to the document, and then.
Because I do know, and that does, and as I started, and Barb, I'm really actually getting to your question, believe it or not, that we need to delete, we can leave it as support ongoing cultural awareness to establish and maintain relationship with Statlium, period. Delete the rest. Don't make it red. And Barb, it's partly that this is a working draft and we probably shouldn't be making references to plans to hire anybody without going through a proper process. And so while it's probably a very good idea, it shouldn't be in this work plan. And if we get to that point, then we'll do it properly then. Okay. So otherwise on that first page, are there comments or concerns? I have to assume you've all read this in detail. Anything else? Okay. Are these all immediate things, or can we have a category? Jackie, yes? No?
Yes, I had a question or a comment. Can we just make sure that we go through timing and make sure we're all in agreement for the timing as we go through? Okay.
Yeah. And also, can we consider this category yes, Karen.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment that I guess I had some concerns, or I just want some clarification as we go through on the word support, because
Yes.
I find it really difficult. I don't find support is really an action because there's nothing deliverable about it, and in many cases there's, you can't put a team lead to it. So I just hope that we're careful as we go through when we talk about support. Is that some sort of an overarching principle, or is that actually an action? So just, if we can keep that in mind as we go through, I'd be really happy. Thanks.
No, it's a very good point. And support can also be interpreted as meaning financial support. And I don't know that we could afford to financially support all these great things, whether we wanted to or not. Sometimes it's more a role of advocacy. And Kristen and I were talking about that earlier. So, yeah. So right there, do we want to change the wording in 1.0? And do we want to change the timing? And what about the comments on the lead? Yes, Jackie.
I know that when we went over it, Vivian, we had the same concerns about that word and what it meant. So I think that we should flag it, because I think it'll come up again and again. And I think that we should, if we have an immediate word that we can replace it with, we should do it right away. And if not, we should just move on and maybe keep that word red, and go back and sort or find all the support ones and see if we can change it to a word that's more active or meaningful, like Karen's saying. So without getting stalled out on the process.
For this first one, do we want to change it, or is it like participate in, or just leave it? Just leave it. leave the word support red then. And, or, and in terms of the lead,
A word
Yes.
could be initiate. Like it's ongoing. It says support ongoing cultural, right? So if we change it, we could be the initiators. Who's going to initiate this?
I don't know that I want to step into initiating the cultural awareness and like at this point, like that is a very big deal to go through the process of like, I mean, speak up, you guys, but I'm not sure that that's the first thing that this committee should be doing. Barb?
Yeah, and then me.
Well, I'm kind of unsure of the whole statement, but I'm thinking like, for those of us that already have relationships going, are we just reinforcing that? Is that our role more so than initiating it?
I'd like to leave as support and move on because I think this is just a huge topic. And I believe that we all, in principle, believe that this should happen. And what Barb is indicating, we all have things that are ongoing. So as they arise, if we have to write a letter of support or if we have to do things that we feel our committee supports this action, I think we should just leave it general because of the foundational it's very foundational for this committee and for economic development is this cultural awareness piece. So
Yes.
I don't want to get bogged down too much on what this means right now. I believe in it, and as far as how it's going to look in the future might have to just come at it as it comes, or as we action it because it's immediate. Yeah, I think we could have more discussions on it once we sort the priorities.
So are we comfortable with immediate? Some of these things would be ongoing, or is that not a category that we want to use? And just while I'm still on line 1.0, sorry. Individual community economic development organizations, is that okay? Could that mean like the chamber or other groups underneath lead? Karen?
I guess that brought me to my second point that I wanted to make in the overall, which is I just hope that we're careful when we assign the lead to a volunteer organization, that we recognize there's just no capacity in many cases. And if there's no financial support, it's pretty hard to suggest that these things will get done if we are going to delegate to something like a chamber or Tourism-Lillooet or Bridge River Valley Community Association. So let's just be cognizant of that as we put those people in the lead.
So should we just leave it as SLRD and NEDI on that? Yes, Jackie and Sal, I saw your hand up. Sal, sorry, first.
Yeah, that comes back to what I was talking earlier about Suzanne Denman and her contract with the BRVCA. She's actually got an action item that she's working on right now that is part of this. And basically getting a Statlium 101 session out here and using, she's already contacted Kathy Narcisse to facilitate, as a facilitator. So the funding will be in place for that. So, Suzanne Denbeck has a lot of other things that we're working on with First Nations. And I think, one of the comments that I'll make is that this is an overarching action where it could be just community to community, as Bart mentioned earlier. And I think everybody's doing it. But for us, I think that word support is what it is in this one. Supporting it. Because Area A supporting it.
And maybe there's an opportunity there. Okay, Jackie?
I just wanted to acknowledge what Karen was saying. We had that conversation too, Vivian and I, and that we weren't comfortable actually assigning anybody other than us, District of Lillooet or the SLRD, any of these action items at this point, unless, and so we're not assigning, I think, in my opinion, we should be identifying if it's already occurring. So if the capacity is there and it's already happening, then we would put it. But if it's not happening, then I don't agree that we should be assigning any not-for-profit anything. And I believe that what Sal is saying, we should actually put in the actions taken. So
Yeah.
the other piece that, you know, we should identify is what things are actually happening right now.
Yep.
So I'd like to suggest and recommend that we put the course or the webinar or whatever that's happening with Suzanne and the Bidge River Valley Community Association in the actions taken comments. And I would like to, make that recommendation that we, in the team lead, we don't ever put a not-for-profit. If the lead is always would be one of the three main, the committee, the SLRD, or the district, depending on their comfort level, in collaboration with it, or as well as. So we just make sure that that is the correct wording when we go through each of these actions.
Everyone good with that? You got that, Patricia? Okay. That's pretty good news to hear too, Sal. Good. So then logically, those other leads are going to come out on this page. Oh, looking at the next box line down, create a Northern SLRD Economic Development Working Group. That's us. Is it not? So I don't think we need to do that again. All right, I've got to go to my paper copy. I can't do these two screens at the same time. Is there anything else on that first page? So on the second page, in yellow, identify a short list of priority action items for implementation in the next 12 to 18 months. That would be our goal here, maybe coming out of this meeting today. And again, I think this should just be up to NEDI in the lead. No one else, right? And yep, Barb and Jackie.
Well, part of me is thinking they all should just be NEDI unless we already know of somebody already working on such, so that we're not reinventing the wheel here. Like, you know, what the ag group is doing, you know, various different things. That's just my thoughts on it.
I really like that suggestion. Jackie, did you have something else? No? Okay. Did I miss anyone else? I saw Kristen nodding at that too.
So that's our default. So everything's going to be, and then if you want to add something in, we will specifically add it in. So we're amending the second line that we've already passed over to just the create a Northern SLRD Economic Development Working. That one, we're just changing that lead column accordingly to just say SLRD and NEDI.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And Jackie?
And
I thought that had we already done this, or is it because it's, I thought that 1.1B was actually complete. Like, I thought that's what you indicated, Vivian, that
Yeah, that's us.
that is us. So we can actually say complete.
Correct.
Okay.
Now Patricia's frowning. Okay.
So just, you want complete in the timing, like in the timing column? Is that what you're thinking?
To the right anyway, yep.
Okay.
All righty. And so on this page 2, we're just going to have NEDIC as the lead organization, right? And moving on to page 3.
Hey, Vivian, can you just, can you say the numbers? Because when we're looking at an Excel spreadsheet, it doesn't necessarily have it.
Sorry. And that's because I just switched to my paper because I was just having too much trouble moving back and forth on screens. This really is a mind bender to try and do this on Zoom. Okay, I'm still on 1.0 and we looked at 1.1, the priority actions. That would be NEDI. Moving all that they're all 1.1s.
So Vivian, I would say that if there are
Sorry, there they are, D, E, F, yeah.
Correct. So if anybody has specific things throughout the 1.1 and 1.1a through whatever, the next one is 1.3a, which has some more input to it that Vivian and I gave, but anything up till then is open for contributions.
So looking at 1.2a, which we also put in red as a short term. Is that something that this committee is going to do? Because I guess over on the right, it's assigned to the SLRD and the District of Lillooet. Barb?
I was just going to say, I know the District of Lillooet is doing what they can as far as development permits and changing bylaws to be able to put things through, and then we'll be working on our OCP. So I think that is, I don't really necessarily want to call it short term, but I think it's ongoing at the moment. And as far as the SLRD and their participation, I'm assuming they're doing the best they can with what they have to work with. So yeah, I don't know that that's really anything that we can accomplish.
So it's in process with the District of Lillooet. And do we take it out in terms of timing? Then does that belong to us at all? Is that something that we don't have our name beside that one, right?
Right, that's why I'm wondering, like, as far as the discussion on it, maybe we could just have periodic updates from the district and the SLRD, but I don't really feel that it's anything
That we're doing.
that we necessarily have anything to do with, this committee.
Jackie has a comment.
I think that this, basically, you're right, Barb, the lead is the district and the SLRD, but this action is quite tied to the economic development that's important for our region. So the team lead would be the staff in both, that anything that we were identifying as ongoing is definitely something is long-term. So if I believe that what you're saying is we should change it to long-term, and in actions taken, we should put District of Lillooet. Right now there's the official community plan review underway. And if there's any specific bylaw stuff which is happening in the SLRD should be noted here by staff.
Okay.
So I guess the way I see
Yes.
this is that like, is this a problem that's been identified? Is this something that you want actioned? And if it's a problem and you want it actioned, then it would be a recommendation to the board that these things be reviewed, whatever you want, that review be undertaken. So I just see this as like one concept that's been, one action that's been identified in this high level report as if it's a problem in that the SLRD, I'll speak for the SLRD, has identified, that it would be brought up to the board, and then there would be a recommendation that these items be looked at. Because otherwise I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to action here. What I'm reviewing, like what am I doing? I can say that we're looking into online bill payments and we do have digital plan submission. So I'm not sure it's a problem. I'm not sure it's something like, have we heard that community members are having problems with these pieces in their economic development plans?
So Jackie and Karen also, you had your hand up.
So yes, definitely it was identified in the report, and I believe has been issues, and it's also something that we need to consistently look at planning and bylaws with this lens to ensure that there aren't barriers to businesses flourishing and developing. So as new things arise, and then if there are these specific things that are happening already, it's obvious that it's not just necessarily a problem, it's just about being a good service and being able to ensure that we're posing no barriers to the economic development for businesses. So I love that you've said that we have those things in progress, so we can put that under actions taken. And then we could have updates on whether they're complete and put that in the other columns that indicate that we have measures of success.
I think Karen would be next, and then Sal, I see your hand.
I guess I'm just sort of echoing what Jackie said, which I think is, this is, as an economic development committee, it's important that we identify or are aware of any barriers, and that maybe we are the conduit. I guess I just think about the fact if someone came to me and said, hey, Karen, what's going on with, I would need to continue to be informed on that, to be able to say, well, I know that the SLRD is doing this, and I know that the district is doing that. So maybe it's a two-way thing, that we ask that we are updated. And I guess the other thing is there anything in place with either the SLRD or the District of Lillooet as an outreach to say, what are the problems? Or is it just on I had a problem, but are there a bunch of people out there saying it's really hard, it's really onerous because I can't do this or that, but they're not actually being asked, they just are silently dealing with that. So is there a role here for us to go out to businesses or potential businesses and say, what are the barriers you're seeing, so that we can help inform the SLRD and the district?
Thank you. Sal, and then Barb.
Yeah, I was very pleased when the SLRD this year on the planning department side went digital with drawings and all that and everything else, because I was pretty frustrated the last project I did here at my place. The last piece of it, and Kristen has talked about it, is the online payment piece. And yeah, yes, there's going to be the new building bylaws, which are going to be up and coming, and the STEP program that's going to be quite involved down the road as we move forward in the SLRD. So all that information has to get out.
So Barb?
Here again, I kind of have to back Kristen on this. Like the SLRD and the District of Lillooet run a little different than Area A and B. And we already have like a planning department and people doing these jobs. And if people are going about their business the proper way, like through licensing and permits and whatever, these complaints already reach those departments. And if they're not, and they're just complaining, that's another story. So I feel like this is more of an information piece where possibly Kristen could bring back different things that the SLRD are doing, or Lori or I could bring back different things that the district has dealt with over, you know, a period. But I guess what I'm saying is we kind of have to watch what our role is and what it isn't, because I really don't want to be stepping on a department that's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I understand the feedback, like saying, I mean, we all know we need better broadband. We all know we need various different things in the community. And I think those are things that different departments are working on. So maybe we just take it as an information piece and support it. I'm unsure.
All right, so in the actions column, the fact that the SLRD and the District of Lillooet are already working on this, it's in progress. We still are interested. We may ask for an update, but also we may be a conduit to convey concerns. And is that an adequate summary? Okay, no, yes, Jackie.
So I wondered if the wording just already takes care of that, and what Barb is saying isn't different from what I was saying, which is just that as a committee, we're getting feedback from the two planning sections that actually are doing that work already. So basically we're saying, yeah, I think we need to change it to long-term because it's ongoing all the time. And I think the lead are the two governments, and we can say that those actions are being taken. And yeah, the committee's like, score, we've got actions going on already. And the two leads are the districts. So I feel like we're kind of all saying the same thing. We could probably move on, and other than to change it, the timing from short-term to long-term.
Thank you. Oh, and Lori has something. Okay. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, so just because I'm just learning here. So when a decision is made like that, does that mean that it comes out of this strategy and action? Because it's being taken over by the district and by the SLRD, are we still going to have it in there as a strategy or action, or is it completely removed?
I believe that we would leave it in there because this work plan was developed from the report that we accepted from Suzanne Denbach earlier in the year. Okay. So the fact that it's something that we are kind of concerned about, that we're tracking, that we might have some input into, or that we are interested in, but we're not necessarily doing anything about it.
Oh, okay. I just wanted some clarification because it just it's my second meeting. So I'm just trying to put everything and the policy and procedures in place here. So thanks.
But no, it's a point too. So should it just be deleted as being irrelevant to this committee? I don't think so. Okay, Jackie, no. Okay.
No, I think that just to be clarify, we're all members of the committee, including we have staff representation from both the member municipalities. So this contributes, just keep remembering that these action items contribute to what's important for the whole northern section. And that piece is an important piece to continue to review, and that we get the updates that those government departments are continuing to do those things. Yeah.
All right, 1.3.A. Should we change the word from establish to support or advocate for? Ask the chamber. Yes, Jackie?
I wondered if this is something that's already in place with the supports that we have. So having the Chamber of Commerce and then the ECDEV officers, but we have the Employment Center, and we also have the Community Futures that all provide us with guidance and mentoring to do with micro and small businesses. So I wondered if this one is actually like happening right now, and rather than establish, I kind of feel like if those services were to go away, that would be a problem. So I want to maintain them, but establish is like indicating that it doesn't exist. So I don't want to create a new thing. I just want to just support what we have here and maintain its existence.
Okay. Patricia, support. And then to the column of lead is the chamber question mark, economic development officer question mark, employment center. They all may be playing a role in this. And I'm not assigning them, I'm checking about what their activities are, right? 1.3B.
Vivian, just one point on that. Does this require a little extra research, or are we all pretty comfortable with what I said, that it is something that's happening already? Do we need, I just want to bring this up as a possibility will come up in other actions that we might need to have somebody check into whether it is in fact in place or not in place. But this one I think is fairly straightforward, is it not? Is everyone yes or no on this one? Like the community futures?
Yeah, the other thing is the community futures was successful in getting the community business liaison for the 1 year. So area A and area B are included in that. And they will then, and the lady that got the contract is supposed to be reaching out to area A and area B businesses.
Okay, so that's probably something else that we should be noting here. That's a pretty important action that's going on. And why don't we just put it right in here? It's to do with, well, I don't know, Sal, maybe talk a little bit more, but
yeah, it's for the it's for the it's due to the COVID to get everybody in the recovery mode and any help that they can supply to all into the region that the community futures has. I don't know if you've been yeah, if you contact community futures in Ashcroft, she can inform you on it. I've been back and forth already.
yeah, and you copied me on some of those.
Yeah.
So thank you. So that is a little bit of an addition in the action column, just that community futures has employed a short-term
1 year.
1 year business development position. And Karen has something to add here. Yep.
Sorry, I guess I just want to know that, you know, Sal, I knew this and Sal knows this, and it sounds like other people in this committee maybe don't know this, but that brings me back kind of the bigger question is, if we're supporting these resource centers, is it our role to also inform small businesses that these things exist? Like if we don't know, maybe small businesses don't know, and do we have a role through asking the SLRD in the district to put that information out, or is there some way that we make sure everybody knows about this? Is that our role? Is that an action?
Is it logical to assume, Sal, that this person would do some advertising to make themselves known? Do we have to remind them to do that? Yeah, it's a good question, Karen, and like it is a ongoing sort of breakdown here where the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. I am so happy that the newspaper is back in production, but yeah, Sal, that question to you. I don't think we need to take on a role of being the communication, but I get your question, Karen, and I see Barb also has a comment. So Sal and then Barb. Director Demare, you are muted.
Say we're fortunate here with the BRVCA and with the Economic Development Committee, and it's been shared already in our community. So the next step is to once the contractor comes out to the area, starts communicating with us to move forward. It's a big area that they have. But like I say, I'm not sure about area B and the communication process that area B has, but we definitely have a communication program here.
Barb, did you want to add something?
Well, just Community Futures is really good at doing what they do, and they are really good at getting the information out there. So I don't think it's a real concern for the district. Like I know when we went through the road closures and whatnot from the flooding and the lack of this, that, and the other. And I know they had people going to the different businesses here in Lillooet and handing out information and leaving information here and there. I just think that they've taken on the role, let them do it.
Okay, but it is a nice piece to add to this plan that's happening. That's good. 1.4A. Oh, this one, shared water, sewer, and other services and so forth, like that's clearly pretty much SLRD role, at least in area B. I don't think this committee, District of Lillooet, certainly. I think we should delete the rest and leave it there and move on. Barb's nodding. Objections?
Sorry, Vivian, did you go to 1.3B or did you skip on to, are you on 1.4A?
Okay, 1.3B, as you can see, we suggested that it just be deleted.
So is that a real delete? Like we are deleting it
Yes,
entirely from this document?
yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
So that will change all the numbers. Karen, uh-oh.
Okay, I just, we're deleting that because we think it's a bad idea. We don't think it's the role of this community or this, committee.
I think it somewhat fits in the item above, but also we are not going to be creating that incubator for small and micro businesses. Any other comments? Jackie, doesn't it sort of fall with the one above?
Yeah, we thought that it would be the role of those people above, and we didn't want to add to that. Like it says, don't add this to our list.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oops. Sorry, the coffee machine is making noise in the background. So may we talk about 1.4A? Oh, yes. And Kristen, you might want to say, this just belongs, this is what the SLRD in the District of Lillooet do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I think it can come out or it can just be a not action. Like I don't know if you want it out or if you want it to remain there, but you know, I don't.
Jackie?
This is one of those same things where we still feel this is very, very important for us to have throughout our whole region. But again, it's something that you guys are constantly working on. One example is the shared services that District of Lillooet has with T-Kit for emergency. So we think that those are really good things to have with neighboring communities. It's cost effective and all the rest of it. So as it arises, or if there are actions being taken right now to discuss that sort of thing, then this is where it should be. So we're just keeping abreast.
Yeah,
Alvin and Barb?
there's one thing that's happening already is the Pemberton search and rescue. And I know Jeff Playfair is working on partnering with the road rescue in Lillooet. And of course, we pay into the road rescue, and that's one of the things that I want to have is a partnership with an organization, search and rescue in our area. So this one here to me is quite important on the whole shared service piece. Even though we're out in the middle of nowhere, but it's an important function due to all the outdoor recreation that happens in the backcountry here.
Barb?
I think it's an important piece. I just don't think it's an action item for this committee because the district already has shared services for fire. With TCLIT, we have shared water and sewer, and we have a meeting with them next Monday, I believe it is. Lori will correct me if I'm wrong. I have faith in her. So I don't know if it's another one of those things where the district, the SLRD, I just don't think it's an action item for this committee.
Jackie?
I think that as far as it being some work that we're going to have to do, I agree, Barb. Like, it's kind of a gray area for some of these. Is it important to our whole region? It absolutely is. And we want to make sure as a committee, these actions continue to occur. Will we have to do anything? No, because luckily the governments in each of those departments are actually doing something. But unless we hear that that action item is being supported, when we get when we get reports from our membership within the committee from those municipalities or the regional government, then we don't know that that important piece is continues to happen. So as it may be more of communication as far as action goes. But I feel that it needs to still stay as identify further opportunities. It's just that within our committee, it's you as the district will and the staff will let us know as a member of our committee what's occurring to support that action item. And so as a committee, we may not have specific work, but I still feel that it's the same one as the one we talked about above, where the lead is going to be the government, like the government's doing their thing. And as a committee, we're going to be like, oh, good, you're still working on that because it's really important to us. So I think I want to leave it. I want to leave it, and I just want to hear, and I want to see the actions that are being taken so that we can say and be open and transparent to our constituents. Look, as a committee, we're continuing this is an important thing to us, and this is what's happening with it. So that's my take.
So maybe instead of under action, maybe the word, rather than identify further opportunities, maybe it should just be aware of. No, definitely it has to be identified because the lead is the district and the SLRD. So they're going to be doing that work. They identify it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can we take all the red all the extra stuff out of there? The red and the blue comments, is that coming out?
We can take the question to staff because we've asked it and it's been answered.
Okay,
But continue to secure funding for the grant writer. That maybe should go over into the action column. Or as it said, there may need to be a separate action. That maybe that just belongs somewhere else. So I think that can come out of that section, right? Jackie?
I think what triggered us was that a lot of grants and things, like say for instance, some of these services require grants. And so we were like, oh, wait, that triggered you and I to say, oh, the grant writer really needs to be identified somewhere in this document, that we should continue to get funding for it, whether it should be under, I think we did say that it made sense to be under collaboration and partnerships because it was an overarching topic to the rest of it. So it could be that we have it maybe isn't it's not under shared infrastructure because that's 1.4. It could be create an open for business climate, or it could be something above under 1.1, maybe collaborate to achieve measurable returns in economic development throughout the Northern SLRD is quite a broad one. Perhaps it could be 1.1G to support the grant. Yeah.
Got that, Patricia? Okay, thank you.
so do you have that? So we are taking the wording continue to secure funding for grant writer,
As an action,
and we're putting it under 1.1G. Did you say, Jackie?
That's what I'm suggesting.
Like a new line, okay.
Yeah, the other reason why it was triggered under this shared thing was because District of Lillooet, or we share that grant writer. So that's why we put it under identified further opportunities for shared water sewer. We're like, oh, we share a grant writer too. So we could leave that in there, and Patricia, you could figure out where you think it goes best. Does that sound good? Because I'm not really sure. But I know that I want it in. I hope people agree. I think it's a definite bonus.
Our grant writer is being critical here. I feel like it's one of the few effective things I've actually been able to do is working with that grant writer to secure some funding for some pretty good projects. And also a lot of failures, but some very good efforts and a lot of groundwork done for the future. So yes, thank you. We do want it in there as an important aspect of economic development, at least in Area B. And I know also in A, right?
Okay, so we're gonna add it as suggested as 1.1G, and then we have that as, what do we have that for as timing? Ongoing, or is that long-term? What's that?
Yeah, long-term.
Annual.
Long-term. And then the lead is SLRD and District of Squamish?
District of Lillooet.
I mean, sorry, District of Lillooet.
Yep, because both have applied for grant writers through
And then we have actions taken, ongoing support. What should I put there? Ongoing support has been provided.
You could say that currently there's a current contract and a grant writer is in place. You could even give the time frame, because I'm sure she's not in perpetuity. She's got a specific grant timeline or whatever till March 31st or something.
Do you want to reference the fact that SLRD and District of Lillooet undertake the application process for the grant to fund the grant writer as well?
Sure.
That's one of the actions, right? Is that we have to seek out and apply for that grant that then funds the grant writer.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
It's semantics a little bit, but
Thank you. Okay, so we've worked through one, right?
Okay, yeah, sorry, can I just make sure that I am doing that we're doing what everybody wants here? So to go back to identify further opportunities for shared water, now we've moved the writing in blue out, so we're gonna delete all that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And Barb?
Yeah, Lori and I are texting while we're on this meeting. I think we should have been in the same household, Lori. Anyway, we're both a little confused as to whether we are, as this committee, we're feeling like, and maybe Kristen can give us some feedback on this, seeing as Jeremy's not at the table, but we're kind of feeling like we're making sure that the SLRD and the district are doing what they're expected to do. So there again, are we overstepping into someone else's job? It's really confusing being on the district end of it. Like I say, I get that we all run in different sequences here, depending on the area and whatnot. But like I say, maybe Kristen could give us some feedback as to how you feel and maybe she doesn't want to. She looks exhausted, I will say, and she's done a really good job. But yeah, I just feel like we're overseeing that they're doing what they've always done.
And Kristen, maybe that's why you're having trouble with the exercise, like some of our conversations around this. Do you want to comment?
Well, I don't really know what to say. This is a very high level document, and I'm not sure this exercise that we've taken on, if it's a bit of an inventory to understand what is going on, that's one thing. I'm not really sure what we're doing with this as a next step. It seems to me we're just kind of writing things down and understanding who's doing what. But what I'm curious in is, and we've talked about this, Director Birch-Jones, is what is our priority list? And that's what the resolution was from the last meeting, is that we prioritize these. And we've talked about, a few things, and that will be taken back to the board because this is a committee of the SLRD board. So all the actions that come out of this are recommendations to the board, and then the board will decide what the next steps are. So my understanding is we were just going to go through this and then try and get on to what, out of all these ideas that were put out into this report, what does this committee want to put forward to the board as its priorities moving forward?
Please go ahead, Jackie.
So I think that this just shows a difference between I see where Kristen and the district, so as government representatives on the board, might have a hard time. In this document, what it's tried to do is identify things that as a whole region that's important to us, and as rural communities representing Texas Creek or Area B, we want an Area A, and then having the SLRD and the district all together, we are identifying that this northern piece is different from the south. So and going through this exercise, that we hold knowledge about what's happening within each of the areas that is important to the whole region and the benefits economically, and for us to thrive as a whole. And we'll have individual parts and individual moving pieces. Some of it might seem like it is stuff that should be done already, but what we're saying is that it hasn't. So those pieces, in my opinion, are identifying things in the past that have been barriers that probably now are being identified by the district and by the regional district as things that had to occur, and like you said, seem like regular business. And we want to just make sure they continue to occur, and that their values and actions that should happen to be economically prosperous and all the rest of it. So I think that's where we're trying to say that as a northern area, individually, we have things that are going on. The district knows stuff that's going on. The SLRD knows stuff that's going on. And then in area A and B, we individually know maybe not-for-profits or whatever things that are going on. And so that's my perspective of this document and how we're trying as a group. And it's very like, obviously, because we're a committee of the SLRD, we have representatives from all the parts. We're just, at this point, we're just a subsection trying to move forward what's important to the north and distinguish it from what's not necessarily the same in the southern regions. And so I still feel like you totally have a point, Barb, that some of it might seem like we're, you know, this stuff is going on already, but obviously in the past, and the consultant has identified it as well, that these are things that are moving ahead because they're important to move ahead on. And so I think we so far, the ones that we've looked at, I believe they're still okay to leave in. Maybe we just keep in mind as we go forward, if there are things that are just plain old regular business and not meeting a particular issue or challenge or something that's really valued that we feel really needs to be communicated about or actioned continually by those planning departments. For instance, things like climate change or things like that is an example that may or may not come up, but like, you know, that's the sort of thing I see as big picture. So, and going to Kristen's point, where this stuff, we definitely just need to make sure that we've got that all correct with the timing, and the reason why are going through line by line and making sure that we all believe the timing is correct, so that, like you can see, I've created a pivot table that lumps all the short terms together, and then we can go straight to that list and say, well, which ones of these make sense for the actual committee to do versus something that the district and the SLRD are already doing. We wouldn't action those as a committee. Those are things that are happening already. That was long. My apologies.
No, it's helpful. And Jackie, it's something I was trying to say before the call, was sort of, because I'm right with you in terms of that thinking. To me, this is a valuable exercise for this committee. It's just super frustrating that we have these short timelines and Zoom as our forum. Barb, you had your hand up?
I did. I understand what Jackie's saying, and I understand the purpose of the document. I just think, I think that it depends on who's sitting at the table. Like, I know that Area A director and Area B director and the District of Lillooet person and whatnot are bringing more and more things forward to the SLRD that possibly weren't brought forward before, because we always, I know as a part of the district, I always felt like SLRD ended in Pemberton. And so I get the idea of the exercise, and I just think that we have to be aware of what should be an information piece, maybe by the directors, bringing reports from the SLRD or the district or whichever, rather than action items. I don't want to be doing someone else's job. I have enough jobs. And I think Area A and B directors are doing a fine job.
Okay. We'll try not to take on anybody else's job. Karen.
Sorry, I had trouble getting to my unmute. Because I'm new to all of this, I just want to make sure I'm hearing Kristen, because I've been on the staff side of things enough. So the role of this committee then is not really, none of these actions will be ours. These will simply be actions that we recommend to either, well, the SLRD and then maybe the District of Lillooet, if they seem to be the right people, and the various directors. Is that correct? So we're not actually going to go out and do anything unless you come back as the SLRD and say, hey, we could sure use some help from a political perspective to go and meet with someone as the representative. Is that right? Do I understand that correctly? And could you hear me? Because I got a bit of your internet connection.
Yes. Do you want to speak first, Estelle?
Yeah, if we look at 2.1A, just quickly go to 2.1A. Meet with Minister of Transportation staff to review upcoming capital and maintenance plans and provide input to reoccurring problem areas. So I look at that one and I look at its immediate, and that's SLRD and NETI, which is us. I definitely want to be part of that. There's no way that I wouldn't want to be part of that, because it's important to Area A, and I'm sure it's important to Area B, and I'm sure it's important to Lillooet, because it's all about economic development and making sure that our highways are getting upgraded and are safe for people that come to our areas. So I look at that, and it's very important to me in Area A. So, you know, this whole, you know, the whole concept of not being, give it all to staff to do, that's fine, but there's certain pieces of this, and including the one I was mentioning before about search and rescue. It's important to me, and it's important to our community, because we've had so many issues with search and rescue here over the years. So there are going to be pieces of this that us as individuals want to be part of. So I think I like the whole concept, because the whole concept of this is economic development for the Northern SLRD. And how do we work together to make economic development work together and be successful for all our areas up here. So, and there's going to be pieces of it, yes, the SLRD or District of Lillooet that are already working on, but there's other pieces here where, yes, some of these like the BRVCA and Chamber of Commerce, and when was the last time the Chamber of Commerce and the BRVCA got together? I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. Probably none. So it's important, and also with our First Nations communities, you know, working with them. You know, individually we're all doing something, but what are they? So that we're all informed what they are, and that's where the action taken comes in, and starting to list off the things that are happening, so that, you know, when somebody looks at this document, yeah, I'm informed now. All this stuff is happening. And yeah, but we need to start filling in. And to Kristen's point is, what priorities are there? Which ones are the highest priority that we're going to work on? And yeah, and that's what we need to do. And, you know, and it's hard to do in this format. It is.
It's very hard.
But it can be done. If all we did was look, was that?
Sorry, yeah, I was just agreeing that of course it can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, and all we have to do is just go through the immediate ones and say, okay, and there, if you look at the document, the main heading on it, immediate is within the next year, short term is in the next 3 years, and long term is the next 10 years. That's what the document says. So if we just look at the ones that are immediate, then we can work through them and say, yeah, these are the ones that, out of all those, which ones are we going to work on?
So I'd like Kristen to have a chance to respond to Karen's question, and then Barb, I see you have your hand up.
Yes. So let me know if I'm not answering it, Karen. So, because I'm just, so then I'm looking at the terms of reference for this committee. And that is to develop and recommend strategies and implement plans as per the committee terms of reference and financial plan that support and enhance sub-regional economic development opportunities and initiatives in the northern areas. So my view of what we're doing right now is doing a brainstorming session on what we're going to be recommending to the board as the priorities of this committee. So I think we're doing like a line by line analysis of the report that was the update report. We're doing that line by line analysis. And then we're going to be prioritizing what strategies and actions which will be recommended to the board. And then the board will determine what will make a decision. And then if it's work that's being added to the staff's work plan, it will be prioritized accordingly. Does that answer your question, Karen?
Karen's internet may be a bit slow, so yes, it is. Did that answer your question? Yes?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Go ahead, Barb.
Okay, I'm still sitting here in confusion. Maybe I haven't had enough coffee. Possibility. Like if you look at 2.1a, I get what Sal is saying, that you want to be a part of that and, you know, bring them to the table and have that discussion. But I'm feeling that Area A, Area B, District of Lillooet would be a part of that, as we are already a part of the SLRD. So this is where I'm wondering, like when it says SLRD and NETI, is it NETI just making the suggestion and then the SLRD moving forward with it, including you and I and Sal? Let's stop with the director thing because I'm confusing myself with that. But that's where I'm getting confused, because are we having the whole NETI committee going to meet with these people, or is it just the directors at large that are sitting on this committee?
Yeah, I'll just talk to that because I was the one that me and Karen added all the other comments, starting with team lead. So the team lead would be who would be the person initiating this or facilitating it. So let's just go to that one. I would say the SLRD. They would initiate it. Who are the team members and what organization are you representing? And then anybody that wanted to be on that from NETI would put their names up and say, I want to be part of that what would you call it, that group, to say the small working group. And then what are the actions taken? What's going to happen? So that's the intent of those other columns. And it's important who we could call the lead organizations on column E, and then column F is who's actually going to be facilitating that working group and who's going to initiate the contact with the ministry and setting up the dates and online meetings or in-person meetings and where, and that whole concept. So I hope that answers your question, Barb. If you don't want to be on it, you don't have to be.
Oh dear.
A lot of that one we're not in control of. You know, we can ask for a MOTI to create a committee, but we're not in control of that.
Yep.
So.
Jackie?
That just points exactly to, good point, Kristen, but I thought we already had a transportation committee that was established years ago. So that's why we haven't read under the main thing. Do we already have one? Can you answer that question? Because I remember Debbie being on it for like, it was like Highway 40 / and Mickey would call us. And anyways, yeah, I thought there was a committee already.
There was, but it is not, and Director Damaris probably can speak more to this, but it is not currently active or it has been disbanded. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was disbanded. I actually started it and co-chaired it with Rob McCormick, who was the regional manager for Maudie at the time, due to some issues.
So if it's been, but is it still something within the SLRD is what I'm saying, is that, you know, there's specific protocols about forming committees and whatever, like, does it still exist in that bureaucratic world? Like, I just rather not recreate something. If
Yeah,
we could just find out.
The committee I started was not with the SLRD. I started it.
Yeah, I believe it was a committee that the SLRD, it was basically considered an external committee and the SLRD had a representative on it. And Director Damaris, correct me if I'm wrong. And
Yeah,
again, this is all before
exactly.
my time and, you know, it was a while ago. So I'm not sure it's, you know, all that relevant to our discussion right now, but it is not active. It was not our committee. And
Exactly.
yeah.
And that committee I had ICBC, CVSC, the ambulance, the school, Maudie, of course, industry, the RCMP, Statlium, tribal police. It was too big.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that like Director Weed, maybe you can speak to this. The District of Lillooet would have ongoing information about maintenance plans and such from MOTI as it relates to your area or relationships there with MOTI?
I believe we do.
Yeah.
There again, it's a staff thing. So we get
Mhm.
information at our council meetings if something has taken place or whatever. And like I say, and you know, Kristen, you can't just make a phone call and get a meeting with MOTI, or you can twist arms all you like and they're going to do what they're going to do and you're going to just suck it up and pay your taxes. So
we look at it as advocacy. When we deal with MOTI in the SLRD, we consider it as advocacy.
Exactly. And I believe the district deals with it the same way. And I was unaware of this outside committee because it was probably before my time as well, but I'd be a little interested in why it was disbanded. Like, was it not functional or did it not get the results? So what would be the purpose of starting it again? And I'm not saying it shouldn't be started again by any means. I'm just curious. Maybe this isn't the place to have that discussion.
Maybe it was making as much progress as we are.
No, there was actually quite a bit of progress, and it was too big, and it was in the like I facilitated. There was the terms of reference. We did a strategic plan. We had goals. We had objectives, and so on and so forth. And there were a number of things that happened that were on the positive side. But what happened, the goals were too far spread out. It was all about infrastructure and road safety, and for the whole region, the Lillooet region, and it was too big. And the ministry people, unfortunately, to be blunt, could not think out of the box. All the different ministry people, including ICBC, and so eventually, and we had a change of my co-chair. He moved on, and we got a new regional manager, and so on and so forth, and it just faded away. I still got all the documentation.
So I see Jackie has her hand up, but just to finish that little, so do we already have one SLRD staff to answer? So the answer is that it is inactive if we have one at all. So the answer is no.
Well, it isn't ours, and the one that there was is inactive, if not disbanded.
Okay, so Jackie?
I just want to put it out there to the group, whether then strategy description to establish a transportation advocacy, because that's the good word to use, would be beneficial. I'll let other people comment. In my mind, roads are key to the prosperity of our region. So if we don't have an advocacy role at some level, I think that there will be challenges. And so we need to constantly let the government and the powers that are changing or doing things, the greasy wheel does get, or what is it? The
Squeaky wheel.
squeaky wheel, thank you, gets the grease. Mickey would call us and ask us how was the contractor doing every year as a resident, and he would take it back to his contacts there. But as far as tourism goes and the buses and all these things, I really think that I don't know about a committee. I always hate making a new committee, but I do think we need to do it. Like Kristen was saying, the advocacy piece is really important. So yeah, that just.
There's a couple there, and that 2.1A is actually, all you're going to do is meet with them. And I think probably on a yearly basis. And all they're going to talk about is maintenance plans and give them input on recurring issues, problem areas. That's all that is. What the other committee was doing was far greater than that. And that's when we had a lot of the road issues. We had Highway 12 was with all the frost heap cracks, Road 40 with the seal coat area that eventually got repaved. So a lot of the issues have been taken care of. We still have issues though. And we need to meet with them on a regular basis, like once a year, and see what their plans are and reoccurring issues that we've had.
So do you think for this committee, there is a role for us to communicate about this issue with each other and to possibly some advocacy? Is that a fit?
Yes, in my view.
Okay. I think we have to stop here, given the time, and talk about, yes, Barb?
I'm not sure that we need another committee, but I mean, I will go along with the majority. I'm just wondering, sorry, you're shaking your head. No, I should be quiet.
No, I'm
Oh.
agreeing with you.
I was going to say, Moti does come to the district and we do give them our complaints, and we've talked about Road 40 came up a lot of times when John Kershane was on council. Trust me, it's been discussed and discussed and discussed, and various different things, the Duffy, the slide area, all of these things. So I just, yeah, I just don't know where to go with it, I guess. Little confused.
Well, you make a good point, because we don't get that. We have to literally, in our area, we have to go to them. And that's what I've been doing. I've been to Marshall Lake Road, and so on and so forth. The next is, of course, Road 40. And we've had a lot of incidents with logging truck drivers right now. And I've gone to them with all that also, and including CBSE. Commercial vehicle. So, I mean, it's an ongoing, but it'd be good to have at least one meeting with them, with this economic development committee, once a year, and for economic development purposes.
And Lori, I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, when we go to UBCM, not this year, but we usually meet with certain ministries, and we did meet with Moti when we went to bat for Highway 12. When Highway 12 was done, after that was a change of government, and I actually took pictures down there because a lot of the when they had finished paving Highway 12, in a few spots there was, I had a measuring tape, and there was a few spots where there was an 8 to 12 inch off the side, where it just cut off. And we were really scared that, you know, with a light skiff of snow, that people would go over too far and catch their wheel and just go right off the road. And so what I was just saying is that, you know, we meet with them, we can meet with them yearly, and maybe that would be the time when all of us meet together with them and take up any issues that we have.
I think that's the next, there's a concept like that coming up about a meeting at UBC, at UBCM.
But, okay, Jackie? Yeah.
It does. And I think this is exactly what I think Lori has a good suggestion. So, and I think Sal was pointing to it. So in what we're saying is probably change the strategy description so get rid of the idea of establishing a transportation committee. And we're just going to use the NETI committee as the advocacy roles and so somehow that just needs to be reworded. So we're not going to say we're going to have a new committee. We're just going to have advocate for northern transportation, something safety and maintenance for economic prosperity, and hold regular scheduled meetings with MOTI district manager Flynn Rowe. So that should still hopefully Patricia, you can help me on that one. But so get rid of the committee concept, say that the NETI will just use that as the platform. And then the other things can still happen as far as meeting with people to get the information and to advocate for good roads, safe roads, so people can get here and spend their tourism money and we can get out for health or whatever, something like that.
I totally agree. And Patricia was nodding. I'm assuming that she caught that. And I'm really cognizant that we are past noon. And that the chances of us finishing this assignment today have disappeared. I did ask for an extra meeting in August, and it's not possible with just the current. I'm hoping at our September meeting, we could have a 3-hour meeting in person, possibly in a space like the mezzanine. Staff could just call in, but I'm thinking about the 6 of us. We already set a date for September 3rd is what we set. And if you're in agreement, and I don't know that everybody is in agreement with this, so just, do we want to finish this exercise and have our priorities kind of come out of it as we've been working? Comments? Like, this should definitely be a decision of the group before we invest any more hours in it. You're only thinking of your lunch. Okay. Barb, Sal?
I think we need another column. Yeah, I think we need another column, a priority column. The timing is the timing, but if we have a priority column and work that way, and then because some of these may not be a priority for some people, but it may be a priority for one of the other, the three different areas that we have. And if we have that priority column put in there, then we can all agree on the priority of each one. Because as we see, as we go through this, there's some of these action or just call them objectives. I'm not involved at all, but it is still relevant to Area A, especially when it's just the city of, or the community of Lillooet in it, and it does affect our economic development because it's our hub where we all go shopping and we all do everything. Everything we do is we go there, and our healthcare is there. Everything is there. So I think adding another priority column would benefit us, and then that way, when we start actioning the number one priorities, that we can relay that to the board and say these are our real priorities here.
Barb?
I wasn't sure if you meant finish it today or finish it on our own and come back to the table.
Well, I think everybody actually looked at it, and my hope was that we would go through it rather quickly. but on Zoom, and this is partly because, I mean, this is a new group and we have new people and we have staff that are stretched pretty thin. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances, never mind this stupid flippin' Zoom format. So we're not going very fast. I would like to have a room with a brainstorming session and just move it along within a couple of hours and finish it and come up with some priorities that the group feels comfortable with, that we could ask the board to give us their blessing to move forward to work on. So that's what I would hope we would do in September, if that's what people want to do as a committee.
I would be in agreement with that, but we have to remember we're all politicians and we have to debate everything.
Thank you. Anything else? Is there something else that I need to do, Kristen? I mean, Patricia could make these few changes, and Jackie, were you putting your hand up or no? Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to speak to Sal's priority suggestion. My understanding was that the timing would lead us to the top 3 priorities, that once we had a critical eye on whether we agreed or disagreed and needed to change any of the priorities, then we would sort it and we would get the immediate ones, and then we would choose the top 3 from the immediate that made sense for this committee, not necessarily like the work that would be done by other by staff or whatever. So that was my understanding with priority. So I hesitate to make another column. I like the columns that we have so far. And I even though this has been hard, we did get a chunk done because of Zoom. It is hard, but I think that this process was valuable. And I agree with Barb, like we have to go through this process of looking at it and talking about what it means to us. And I feel like as we go through that, some of them will get a little bit easier to talk about, and we'll still come up with certain ones that are sticking points that we need to really process. But I like how we've also added actions taken. So that to me really means that this is going to be a document that shows measures of success, that we are supporting the Northern economic prosperity and that things are being done. So that to me was key, not just that we're making sure the actions and the timing make sense, but that the knowledge that we have of what's being done right now. So I think going line by line is still the way to go. And I think it might be a little easier if we have us together, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay. I think we're doing okay.
On that happy note, thank you very much. Item 6 is director's reports, which we don't have any. Correspondence for action, zip. Decision on late business, nil. Right, Kristen? So director's notion of motion, there's nothing there. So it's my opportunity to ask for somebody to make a motion to adjourn. Barb and Sal put their hands up at the same time. So we can adjourn. And we will reconvene on September 3rd and continue working on this. Hopefully, maybe as a group for a 3-hour meeting. Is everyone good with that? Okay. And thank you very much.